Mr. President, the Committee on Defense went on oversight to Kaduna last month, and we visited DICON, the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria. Distinguished colleagues, DICON was established in 1964, 60 years today. But its contemporaries in Brazil, in Pakistan, today can produce fighter jets. DICON is still struggling to manufacture bullets. I believe that when Mr. President says that we are going to deploy technology and other technical and digital means of fighting insecurity, then DICON should be at the center of it. Mr. President, we should be able to make it possible for DICON to produce the kind of equipment, machinery and platforms that we need in this country. And we have the people who can do that. We have very well-trained technicians and technologists. Mr. President, I believe that Nigeria has suffered enough in the hands of countries where we wanted to import our platforms or our aircrafts. We recall that in the last administration, Nigeria paid for about 12 fighter jets from a certain country. And we paid heavily. But alas, when those aircrafts were finally imported to Nigeria, we were not given every aspect of what we needed to use them to fight insecurity in Nigeria. So we are halfway. The only way to go is to have our own DICON functioning.
The lessons we have learned since we assumed duties here is that budgetary provisions alone will not translate to the kind of outcome Mr. President spoke to, namely that our defense policies or management of our defense procurement should be guided in a way as to lay more emphasis on technology and have a much more smart, robust, and effective defense system. This will require that our defense committee, which happily is chaired by the immediate past Senate President, that our defense people need to be refocused. Even the issue of the defense, because I live in Kaduna, we find at DICON, at a point DICON was producing furnitures. And in Kaduna, it was a joke of the town that people who, an institution set up to manufacture arms, at the same time a similar institution was set up in Brazil. Why Brazil are now manufacturing even jets, defense industries, Kaduna was producing furnitures. I'm not sure exactly what they are doing now. But just to say that my experience has taught me that throwing money at people without ensuring that they use the money strictly for the purpose for which it was appropriated can always lead to what I call goal displacement, replacing popular goal with what is convenient to those who are charged with the responsibility of managing resources that are appropriated for them.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I am Abdulaziz Musa Radua, representing Katsina Central. Mr. President, I want to join my colleagues in commending Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for a beautiful presentation of the budget yesterday. I want to also commend him for considering very critical sectors that are critical to the development of this country, and considering security as the first critical sector by allocating 4.06 trillion to the defense and security agencies. I want to use this opportunity to draw attention to my distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, that security is paramount, and as mentioned by most of my colleagues here, without security, there will be no development. So it is important to understand that the security agencies, the armed forces of this country need a lot of resources allocated to them to enable them carry out their duties, especially the Nigerian Army, which is deployed in the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. The strength of the Army, though, is inadequate. It is important for us to
Senator Abdulaziz, your time is off.
30 seconds.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Yes. Mr. President, thank you for giving me this time. I just want my colleagues to understand the need for us to allocate more resources to the Army, considering the nature of operations that they conduct, because we need them to, as quickly as possible, take care of the security situation of this nation.
My people and my area, I always want to emphasize that whatever Nigeria stands to gain today, much of it relies on what the Niger Delta is able to come up with. But as it were, the cry has always been the same. As far as I know, the cry of poverty, insecurity, education deficit, health challenge, all over the country is the same. However, we suffer it the most. And I want this budget to address these issues very frontally, Mr. President, very frontally. And in doing that, we will be very happy.
Senator Kobonwe, your time is off.
Yes,
Even though I'm my friend, I can't help it.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you.